The galaxy was old, very old. Thousands of species had risen, built empires, and joined together in peace. They traded with each other. They shared knowledge. They explored the stars together. It was a good time to be alive. But there was one world that made everyone nervous, a small blue planet called Earth. The Galactic Council had given Earth a special name. They called it a Category 7. This was the highest danger rating possible. On Earth, everything wanted to kill you. The gravity was crushing. The weather could destroy cities. The animals had claws and teeth and poison. Even the plants could hurt you. The water was filled with monsters. The air carried diseases. No intelligent life should have survived on such a world, but somehow humans did. They did not just survive. They became the most dangerous predators on their planet. Then they built ships and came to the stars. Most species stayed away from humans. There were tall, beautiful beings made of living crystal. They found humans ugly and frightening. There were ancient traders with 6 arms. They only did business with humans when they had no other choice. Everyone agreed that humans were too strong, too fast, and too stubborn. They could heal from wounds that would kill anyone else. They ate food that was poison to other species. They kept dangerous animals as pets and called them friends. But humans were also strangely kind. They helped strangers for no reason. They ran into burning buildings to save people they did not know. This confused everyone. How could something so dangerous also be so gentle? Lieutenant did not think about these things very often. She was a nurse on the medical ship Gentle Dawn. The ship had no weapons. It carried only medicine, doctors, and supplies. Had joined the Earth Navy because she wanted to help people. She was 32 years old and had been born on the moon. She had kind eyes and steady hands, perfect for her work. The Gentle Dawn was stationed at the edge of space. They did not really want humans near their territory, but they allowed medical ships. Even they had to admit that human doctors were very good at their jobs. Captain commanded the Gentle Dawn. He was 56 years old with hair and tired eyes. He had seen 3 wars in his life and wanted no part of a 4th. He had chosen to command a medical ship because he was done with fighting. He just wanted to save lives now. It was a quiet evening on the ship. Was checking medical supplies in the storage room when the alarm sounded. She dropped her work and ran to the bridge. When she arrived, everyone was staring at the main screen. A message was playing. The voice was high and musical, like singing glass. It was a voice, but it was filled with terror. Please, anyone, we are under attack. Unknown ships. Our defenses are failing. They are taking our people. Please help us. The message repeated, then it cut off into static. Commander stood next to the captain. She was 40 years old, tall and serious. She had been a soldier before becoming first officer of a medical ship. Sir, that signal is coming from 4. It is a colony world. How many people live there? Captain asked. 12 million, sir. The bridge was silent. 12 million people. Felt her stomach turn cold. Sir said carefully, 4 is deep in space. We are not allowed to go there without permission, and we have no weapons if there really is an attack. I know. His voice was quiet. He stared at the star map on the screen. A small red dot was blinking. That dot was a world full of people who were dying right now. Young Ensign spoke up. He was only 23 and still believed in heroes. Captain, we cannot just ignore this. Those people need help. We are a medical ship, reminded him. What can we do against warships? We can save lives, said. That is what we do. Captain was quiet for a long moment, watched his face. She could see him thinking, weighing choices that no one should have to make. Finally he spoke, set a course for 4, maximum speed. His eyes went wide. Sir, are you certain we could all die? I know, turned to face his crew. I will not order anyone to come with me. If you want to leave, take an escape pod. No one will think less of you, but I am going to that planet. I am going to help those people, because that is what humans do. No one moved toward the escape pods. Felt something warm in her chest. Pride, maybe, or just the simple knowledge that she was exactly where she belonged. Send a message to Earth Command, ordered. Tell them what we are doing. Tell them we need help, then take us to 4. The ship hummed as its engines powered up. The stars began to move outside the windows. Returned to her station and began preparing for mass casualties. She did not know what they would find when they arrived. She did not know if they would survive. But she knew one thing for certain. They were going anyway. That was the human way. The gentle dawn dropped out of hyperspace, and everyone on the bridge stopped breathing. 4 was burning. The planet below them had been beautiful once, had seen pictures of worlds. They built cities of crystal that caught the light and turned it into rainbows. They made art and music that could make you cry. They were peaceful people who had never fought a war in 10,000 years. Now their world was on fire. 3 huge ships hung in orbit above the planet. They were unlike anything had ever seen. Their hulls were black and shiny like the shells of giant insects. They had no windows, no markings, nothing that looked friendly. Smaller ships flew between them and the surface, going up and down like busy ants. "What are those?" Ensign whispered. No one answered, no one knew. Commander pulled up the tactical display. Her face went pale. "The defense fleet. There is nothing left, just debris." Looked at the screen. Thousands of pieces of broken crystal floated in space. Each piece had been a ship. Each ship had carried a crew. All of them were dead now. "We are being scanned," reported. His voice was shaking. Captain stood very still. "Open a channel, all frequencies. Let us see who we are dealing with." The communication screen flickered. For a moment there was only static. Then a sound came through the speakers that made everyone flinch. It was clicking and chittering like insects talking. The sound seemed to crawl inside's head. The translator took a moment to work. Then words appeared on the screen. "More cattle, soft and weak. Add them to the harvest." His blood went cold. Cattle, harvest. These creatures were not just attacking they were collecting them like animals. One of the black ships began to turn toward the gentle dawn. "Sir," said urgently, "we need to run, now. We cannot fight these things." But was not looking at the enemy ships. He was looking at the planet below. His hands moved over his console, and suddenly the main screen showed the surface. Wished he had not done that. They were being herded. Thousands of them, maybe millions, pushed into groups by tall creatures that walked on too many legs. They were crying, their crystal bodies making sounds like breaking glass. Families were being torn apart. Children pulled from their parents. Old ones pushed aside and left behind. It was slavery, pure and simple. These monsters had come to take people. Captain tried again. "We have 200 people on this ship. We have no weapons. We cannot save anyone if we are dead." Finally turned to look at her. His eyes were hard. "I spent 30 years of my life following orders and being careful. I watched good people die because someone decided it was not worth the risk to save them." He pointed at the screen. "I will not watch that happen again, not while I can still do something." "What can we do?" asked. "We are just a medical ship." A strange smile crossed his face. "We are a ship full of humans. We will think of something." He began giving orders. The crew moved fast even though they were scared, maybe because they were scared. "Use our medical scanners to jam their communications. Make it hard for them to talk to each other." "Yes, sir." "Find me the biggest group of survivors on the surface. We are going down there." "Sir, the enemy will shoot us out of the sky." "Then we will have to give them a reason not to." Turn to the medical staff. "Doctor, I need you to record a message. Tell those things that our ship is carrying a deadly plague, something that will kill anything it touches. Make it sound believable." Doctor, a small woman with hair and sharp eyes, nodded slowly. "A bluff. A very big bluff. If it works, they will stay away from us while we rescue people. If it does not work," he shrugged, "then we die trying to do the right thing. I can live with that." The bridge was quiet for a moment, then spoke up. "Captain, I request permission to join the ground team." Looked at her. "You know what you are asking. It will be very dangerous down there." "I know," kept her voice steady, "but those people need medical help. That is what I do." One by one, others volunteered. Engineers, nurses, technicians, people who had never held a weapon in their lives, offering to walk into a war zone. Looked at his crew with something like wonder. "This is why I love humans," he said quietly. "All right, let us go save some lives." The gentle dawn began its descent toward the burning world below. Behind them, the black ships watched and waited. Ahead of them, millions of people were praying for a miracle. 200 humans were the only answer to those prayers. It would have to be enough. 12 light-years away, Earth was sleeping. It was night over most of Asia when the message arrived at Navy Command. Admiral was not sleeping. She never slept well. 60 years of life and 40 years of military service had taught her that bad news always came at night. So she was awake, drinking tea in her office, when her communication screen lit up with an urgent alert. She read the message from the gentle dawn 3 times. Each time her face grew harder. A medical ship, unarmed, 200 crew, flying directly into an active war zone to save people from an unknown enemy. The captain knew he was probably going to die. He was going anyway. Set down her teacup very carefully. Her hands wanted to shake, but she did not let them. She pressed a button on her desk. "Get me the Defense Council. Now, I do not care what time it is." 20 minutes later, she stood before a screen showing the faces of Earth's military leaders. Some of them looked annoyed at being woken up. That annoyance disappeared when she showed them the message. "Those are our people," said. Her voice was calm and cold. "On an unarmed ship facing slavers." The word hung in the air. Slavers. Humanity knew that word very well. They had done terrible things to each other throughout their history. They had also learned, slowly and painfully, that some evils could not be tolerated. Some evils had to be destroyed no matter the cost. Admiral, an old man with a face, spoke first. "We do not have permission from them to enter their space." "I am aware. If we send warships without permission, it could cause a diplomatic incident." His eyes flashed. "There are 12 million being taken as slaves right now. There are 200 humans trying to save them with nothing but a medical ship and courage. I do not care about diplomatic incidents." The council members looked at each other. Then, one by one, they nodded. "How many ships do you need?" Admiral asked. "All of them." Within the hour, the Second Fleet was mobilizing. 47 warships powered up their engines. 12 carriers loaded their fighters. 6 dreadnoughts, the biggest and most powerful ships humanity had ever built, turned their massive hulls toward space. Captain commanded the dreadnought Iron Mountain. It was 3 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Was 39 years old, quiet and thoughtful. He had hoped he would never have to use those weapons against living beings. Now he stood on his bridge, watching his crew prepare for battle. "What do we know about the enemy?" his first officer asked. "Almost nothing," admitted. "Unknown species, unknown technology. We know they destroyed the entire defense fleet. We know they are taking slaves. And we are going to fight them anyway." Yes, looked out at the stars, because humans do not leave people behind, ever. The fleet gathered at the edge of human space. 47 ships full of people who had grown up on a world that tried to kill them every day. Their ancestors had survived ice ages, plagues, famines, and wars. They had climbed out of caves, built cities, and reached for the stars. Nothing in the universe frightened them anymore. Admiral's voice came through every speaker on every ship. "Listen carefully. Our brothers and sisters are in danger. Civilians are being taken as slaves. We are going to stop this. We are going to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten people under human protection." She paused. "Some of you might not come home. I will not lie to you about that. But remember who you are. You are the children of Earth. You grew up on a world that everything in the universe considers a death trap. You are the descendants of people who looked at lions and wolves and bears and said, 'Those would make good pets.' You are the sons and daughters of a species that climbed to the top of the food chain on a planet that never wanted you to exist." Her voice grew hard. "Today, we remind the galaxy why they fear us." The fleet jumped to hyperspace. 47 ships full of angry humans racing toward a battle they did not fully understand. They did not know what they would find. They did not know if they could win. But they knew one thing. The gentle dawn had been fighting alone for hours now. 200 humans were standing between monsters and innocent people. They were buying time with their lives. The fleet would not let that sacrifice be wasted. Captain stood at the front of his bridge, watching the stars blur past his windows. His weapons were charged. His crew was ready. "How long until we arrive?" he asked. 4 hours, sir." 4 hours, closed his eyes and sent a silent prayer across the void. Hold on, he thought, just hold on a little longer. We are coming. The gentle dawn had been on the ground for 6 hours. 6 hours of chaos, fear, and desperate hope. Captain had landed the ship in the ruins of a city. Beautiful crystal towers lay broken all around them, shattered into millions of pieces that sparkled like tears in the firelight. The air smelled of smoke and fear. The plague bluff had worked for a while. The enemy ships had stayed back, afraid of contamination. But that trick could not last forever. Now the monsters were coming on foot, thousands of them, marching toward the medical ship. Had not slept. She had not eaten. She had spent every minute helping wounded, treating burns and broken bones and shock. The cargo bay was full of refugees now. 800 people packed into a space meant for supplies. More filled the corridors, the medical bays, every empty space on the ship. "How many do we have?" asked when she reported to him. "Almost 2,000, sir. We cannot fit any more." Nodded slowly. His face was with exhaustion, but his eyes were still sharp. "Then we stop bringing more in. We protect what we have." Commander stumbled back into the ship. She had been leading rescue teams into the city, finding survivors and bringing them back. Her uniform was torn and dirty. A piece of metal was stuck in her shoulder, but she refused to let anyone treat it. "They are getting closer," she reported. "Maybe an hour before they reach us." "Can we take off?" "No, sir. One of their ships is directly above us now. If we try to fly, they will shoot us down." Looked at the tactical display. Red dots were everywhere, slowly surrounding their position. Blue dots showed his crew, spread thin around the ship, doing their best to look like a real defense force. "What about our tricks?" he asked. "Anything left?" Ensign shook his head. "I used all our flares to simulate weapons fire. Our scanners are burned out from jamming their communications. We have nothing left, sir." Nothing left. Felt those words sink into her chest like cold water. They had done everything they could, and it was not enough. Outside, the enemy approached. Had seen them now through the ship's cameras. They were tall, taller than humans, with bodies like insects and too many arms. Their eyes were black and empty, showing no emotion, no mercy. They moved in perfect silence, thousands of them, like a tide of darkness. "All hands," said over the intercom. His voice was calm even now. "This is the captain. The enemy is almost here. We have no more tricks, no more bluffs. In a few minutes they will attack." He paused, could hear people breathing around her, waiting. "I want to thank you all. You came here knowing you might die. You stayed to save people you had never met. That is something to be proud of, no matter what happens next." Felt tears in her eyes. Around her, refugees were listening too. They did not fully understand human language, but they understood the tone. They knew these strange, soft-looking creatures had come to die for them. "If anyone has any last ideas," continued, "now would be a good time." Silence. Then a young spoke up. Her voice was like singing crystal, high and clear. She could not have been more than a child. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you come here? You could have been safe. Why did you come to die with us?" Looked at her for a long moment. Then he knelt down so he was at her eye level. "Because you needed help," he said simply, "and we were close enough to try." The child stared at him with eyes like diamonds. "But you are not even our species. You owed us nothing." "No," agreed, "but that does not matter. Humans believe that everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves someone willing to fight for them." He smiled sadly. "We are not heroes, little one. We are just too stubborn to give up." The first explosion hit the ship's outer hull. The lights flickered. Alarms began to scream. "They are coming through," shouted. Stood up, he pulled a metal pipe from a broken console. It was not a weapon, not really, but it was something to hold. "All hands, defensive positions. Protect the civilians. Make them pay for every step." grabbed a medical kit in one hand and a piece of broken crystal in the other. Around her, doctors and nurses and engineers did the same. They were not soldiers. They did not know how to fight, but they would try anyway. The first monster came through a hole in the hull. It was huge, all legs and claws and empty black eyes. And then the sky exploded. Did not understand what was happening at first. Light filled the windows brighter than the sun. The ship shook. The monster in the doorway looked up, confused. Then a voice came through every speaker, every frequency, filling the air like thunder. "This is Admiral of the United Earth Navy. You have 30 seconds to surrender. This is your only warning." The humans on the gentle dawn stared at each other. Outside, the sky was full of ships. Human ships, warships, dozens of them appearing out of nowhere like angry gods. Captain started to laugh. It was a tired, broken, beautiful sound. "It seems," he said, "that the cavalry has arrived." The second fleet came out of hyperspace like the fist of an angry god. 47 warships appeared in perfect formation around 4. Their hulls were hard, built to survive the crushing gravity of Earth, the radiation of space, and the violence of war. Their weapons were already charging, filling the void with deadly energy. Admiral stood on the bridge of her command ship, looking at the enemy vessels. 3 black ships, huge and alien, hanging in orbit above a burning world. They had destroyed the fleet. They had taken millions of slaves. They thought they were unstoppable. They were about to learn otherwise. "Open a channel," ordered, "all frequencies." Her voice went out into the darkness, carried by radio waves to every ship in the system. "This is Admiral of the United Earth Navy. You have attacked a human vessel. You have taken sentient beings as slaves. You have exactly 30 seconds to surrender unconditionally." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Or we will demonstrate why ours is classified as a..." The enemy response came quickly. Not words, just weapons fire. A dozen missiles launched from the nearest black ship, racing toward the human fleet. "They have chosen," said calmly, "all ships weapons free." Captain watched from the bridge of the Iron Mountain as the battle began. It was not really a battle. It was something much worse. Human ships were built different from everyone else's. Earth's gravity was heavy, so human ships had stronger hulls. Earth's weather was violent, so human ships had better shields. Earth's animals were deadly, so human weapons were designed to kill things much scarier than alien slavers. The enemy missiles hit the human fleet. They exploded against shields that barely flickered. Then the humans fired back. The first black ship came apart in less than a minute. Human weapons tore through its organic hull like knives through paper. It did not even have time to scream. One moment it was there, huge and terrible. The next moment it was a cloud of burning debris. The second ship tried to fight back. Its weapons, which had destroyed crystal ships so easily, bounced off human armor. Human fighters, small and fast and angry, swarmed around it like wasps. They found weak points and hit them again and again until the whole ship broke apart. The third ship ran. "It is heading for the edge of the system," its first officer reported. "If it reaches hyperspace, it will escape." Thought about letting it go. He was not a cruel man. He did not enjoy killing. Then he thought about the slaves, the millions of taken from their homes, the families torn apart, the children crying for parents they would never see again. "Do not let it escape," Admiral ordered. "We cannot allow them to warn others." The Iron Mountain was fast for its size. It caught the fleeing ship at the edge of the system, blocking its path to freedom. "Enemy vessel," said, his voice steady. "This is your final chance. Surrender and release your prisoners or be destroyed." The answer was more weapons fire. Closed his eyes for just a moment. Then he gave the order. "Fire." The Iron Mountain's main weapons spoke. They were designed to crack open asteroids, to fight in the terrible gravity wells of gas giants, to destroy anything that threatened Earth's children. The third black ship died screaming. On the surface of 4, the ground forces stopped. Without their ships, without their commanders, they did not know what to do. Human soldiers dropped from the sky in armored pods surrounding them. One by one, the insect creatures surrendered. The battle was over. It had lasted less than an hour. Admiral's shuttle landed next to the gentle dawn as the sun rose over the ruined city. She walked through the broken hull and found Captain sitting against a wall, too tired to stand. "Captain," she said, "you did an incredible thing here." Looked up at her with exhausted eyes. "We did what anyone would have done." "No," shook her head. "You did what humans do. There is a difference." Around them, refugees were emerging from the ship. They looked at the sky full of human warships, at the soldiers who had come to save them, at the strange creatures from who had risked everything for strangers. The little girl who had spoken to Found in the medical bay was treating wounded, just as she had been doing for hours, refusing to rest until everyone was helped. "Thank you," the child said. Her voice was like bells ringing. "You came for us." Smiled, though she was so tired she could barely see straight. "Of course we did. That is what friends do." "But we were not friends before." "We are now." News of what happened at 4 spread across the galaxy like wildfire. A medical ship with no weapons had held off an alien invasion for 7 hours. 200 humans had stood between monsters and 12 million civilians, armed with nothing but courage and stubbornness. Then the human fleet had arrived and destroyed the enemy in less than an hour. The who had kept humans at a distance for decades requested a formal alliance within the month. Other species followed, not because they loved humans. Many still found them strange and frightening, but they had learned something important. Humans protected their own. And if you stood with them, you became their own too. Captain received the Galactic Humanitarian Medal. He gave a speech that was exactly 3 sentences long, then went back to work on the Gentle Dawn. Commander was offered a promotion to a warship. She refused. "I became a medic to save lives," she told Admiral. "That has not changed." As for the slavers, their empire learned a hard lesson that day. They had spent thousands of years preying on soft species, taking whatever they wanted, fearing nothing. They had never met before. The records show that their empire fell apart within a generation. Species they had terrorized rose up against them. Others hunted them across the stars. They tried to hide, to run, to surrender. It did not matter. The galaxy had learned something from the humans. Some evils cannot be allowed to exist. And sometimes, the monsters meet something worse than themselves. The crew of the Gentle Dawn never considered themselves heroes. They were just people who saw others in trouble and decided to help. That was all. That was everything. On Earth, children learned their story in school. They learned about a small ship that flew into danger because it was the right thing to do. They learned about a fleet that crossed the stars to save strangers. They learned that being human meant never leaving anyone behind. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, other species watched and wondered and slowly began to understand why humans were the most feared and most loved creatures in the galaxy. It was not because of their strength or their weapons or their stubborn refusal to die. It was because they cared. And that, in the end, was the most terrifying thing of all.